up, and welcome back to another Loc Talk. This is my wonderful client, Sakina. I am so excited to come and just so she can share her lock journey and just share life in general. So come on in.
Oh, thank you. So I definitely one of those people who I don't know why I didn't get locks earlier or sooner in my life.
Wait, you've been like how long now, right?
It hasn't even been a year yet.
It hasn't been a year?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Summer will make it a year.
Summer will make it a year, August. And I understand why I never got locked, because I did not feel comfortable with myself and my natural self. Yeah. So I think.
So when you said you didn't feel comfortable with yourself, what do you mean
with
by
my
that?
hair naturally? I ascribe my beauty to, I like when my hair is straight. It's more manageable. Then when I was pregnant and I had twins, I've gone back and forth with my hair natural, but it would always be short. And the longer it was getting, it was like I had to learn my hair. So I have 50 million, like most people, 50 million products. It doesn't look right. And then I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a perm in it or straighten it, or when it got hot. But it was like the longer my hair got, when it was natural, I couldn't enjoy it. It either had to be braided up, or, and in Atlanta it's too hot. So even if I got it flat ironed, then it just shrink. My husband said, "You're transforming." And I told you I've been going through a time of self-discovery. And through the self-discovery and acceptance of myself and my body and living a life of more gratitude, then I was open to locks. My friend of mine, she got it done. I said, how can you make that kind of commitment? And most people were like, oh, that's such a commitment. But once I kind of accepted like myself, that this is me, this is who I am, and I am worthy, then it became more of a spiritual journey. It sounds weird. And then when I try to explain to people, and then it's like, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm beautiful, and it's pretty, and this is my hair in its natural state, and I like it. And so like, oh, these are the curls, and I can go to sleep. I can wake up and go, and I can be, instead of making myself about my hair, it's like I can live my life about who I am.
Right.
Because most of that time will be spent on what does my hair look like. And now that that's gone, and I still can feel cute, then it's changing a lot of aspects of my life.
Yay!
Especially with working and being a mom and having a business,
being an entrepreneur,
and plans. And then I think we're just all here to kind of share that love and gratitude.
Yes.
And so I do plants. I sell plants, but mostly, well, I started selling them because our house is a jungle. And I just loved it, but I love feeling that need to nurture and care for something. And it gives you joy back inside. Don't have to, when a lot of times we have so many stresses in life, it's like, where do we go where we can breathe? And we pay us so much time outside in the world, and when you come home, it's like, I want to come home, I want to feel like I'm on vacation. Even when I'm not. I can just come, I could let my hair loose, I could breathe. And that's how I feel when you have plants. I feel like I'm on an island, like I went somewhere. And I kind of correlate to my hair, I guess. I don't know.
Because I mean, now you get to nurture your hair too.
Yes, where I didn't before.
You know, I be giving people that that correlation with, I have clients who would wear locks, will get locks, and then, nothing against putting a wig over your locks, but there are some locks that have that band, not locks, some wigs that have that band inside of it. And so when they put it around their hairline, it kind of restricts the hair growth. And because of the material, it kind of just rubs against it, causing more hair loss. It pulls your hair. And then I always tell them, your hair is like plants. It needs sunlight. It needs air. It needs to breathe.
Like
to
we
grow.
need to breathe.
To grow. So I always tell them, your hair is like plants, because when you keep covering it up, and you have these.
No sun.
I mean, I don't know what.
No water.
Right, no sun, no water.
And then just let it be.
Yeah, and that's why I encourage people to shampoo. Not when you're newly locked, but to shampoo often. You know, because our hair needs it.
And that's so funny you said it, because even with misting, like I feel it. Like now, my hair is probably the healthiest it's been. I love color. And you won't let me get colored yet, but
not yet. You almost there. You almost there.
I need to have.
I think we can get away with doing it like spring, summer.
I need some color so I can feel like I'm blooming. I'm in season.
I think spring.
That's
in a couple of months. I got you in a couple of months.
And I would hate because I couldn't do it, and I always wet my hair in order to wear it natural. But now it's like it goes, it lays, which I couldn't do before. It breathes. I run my fingers through it, and it's like, oh, it's cute. I feel, and I think that's the other thing too, is just being comfortable in our space. And that first space starts with ourselves. So it's like if I'm not comfortable with what I see in the mirror, if I'm not comfortable with how I feel inside about myself, or what's looking back at me, how can I present that to anybody else? How can I expect other people to be comfortable with me? And I struggled with that, and I won't blame it all totally on society and the images, but it was, I need to spend some introspective time learning myself. And then a lot of times we have too many distractions. And so when it's serene and the TV's off, the electronics off, and you're just surrounded by nature, I feel that brings you more in tune with who you are. So if you're sitting in a room and you just around with what is naturally here, what is naturally on the earth, plants, trees, water, breath, and the more we connect with that, then the more we find our anxiety drops. And we still have the same problems. Nothing's changed, but it's like we're more connected to what's important. And I always wanted that in my space at home, but I never had it my space internally with myself. And so everything would be pretty and nice and plentiful in my house. And I'd be like, oh, I'm so relaxed. But my inner spirit wasn't.
And you felt like you got that when you locked your hair?
I got that when I locked my hair. And that is one of the things where it's like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because now it's just like, and I think that energy, it's reflected in other people too, because they feel it. And so now it's like certain things come, it's like, oh, because I'm relaxed in myself. I love myself. I'm grateful. I'm full of gratitude. Hey, my feet worked today. Thank you, feet. Thank you, hair, for being on my head. And it's so funny because it was nobody else. My husband, he'd be like, just be happy you have hair. You know, he's like, he will always, he said, any hair is good hair if it's on your head. You know? And then it's like,
that's a wise man.
I'm just like, oh my goodness. You know, and I would just be stressed hours and hours. And then I got back to more time because like, who am I trying to please? You know, I'll do my little edges down because I just like that. You know, but I wake up and I don't get two more hours of my life to devote to myself, especially if you're in a relationship, if you have a partner, if you have children, if you work, if you have a business. Is that everything steals from our time. And so how do we give time back to ourselves for self-care, self-love, self-worth? Because we're no good to anybody else if we're not good to ourselves first. And be like, why am I in this relationship? People aren't going to treat you well if you don't treat yourself well. And I noticed I always would give excuses like, oh, I'm doing this and doing that, the kids. But I said, hey, wait a minute. I can't be a doormat to myself. I was treating myself. I was like, wait a minute. And once and it started with my hair. Because now it was like, okay, I learned that, and then everything else started coming together.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm so happy.
And you know, the thing you said in the beginning was you weren't comfortable with yourself and you wanted to like yourself, when you got your locks, that's when you became comfortable with yourself. But a lot of people, I hear people all the time saying, you know, to the effect of, well, I'm just not ready for that. I'm not comfortable in locks. But truly, when you get locks, you become more comfortable with yourself.
More comfortable. It's like one of those things. where you have to jump, but you're like, oh, I'm scared to jump and I'm not gonna. So you're just standing there, but you're stuck in nowhere. You're not going anywhere. You're not going forward. You're not going backwards. You're just stuck. And it wasn't until you release fear and then just do it. And for me, it was, okay, well, so, and what's holding me back? And the only thing that was holding me back was me. And then once I got it, you know, I could say, oh, you know, I had every excuse in the world. And then once it was done, it was just like, oh, and I woke up. You know, and then as the days went through the process, and then I found that I became more comfortable with myself. And that's reflected in how I present myself to others. And you don't even know, because I would tell my kids, you know, they're like, oh, your face looks like this. And no, it doesn't. It's like, you can't see your face. Are you walking around with a mirror every day? I said, you don't know what you're projecting outside. I said, but if you have a certain energy that's always reflecting back to you, then maybe that's your mirror of what you're projecting. And the more I became self-confident and just comfortable with who I am, and it didn't allow other people to define that for me, or my environment to define that for me, I was able to breathe, not only at home, but even when things are bad, and you know, because I come in here, I'll be like, girl, this happened, guess what? I dealt with this in this way. I would have never did this. This person would have got it. Or I would have told this person to kick rocks. And there's so much that comes at us that it's like, if we're not making our lives the best it can be, I don't know.
Yeah. That is awesome. That's why I tell people, getting Locs is so empowering.
It's empowering.
And for a lot of people, it's a spiritual, you know, for some people it's a spiritual movement. For some people, it's just a lifestyle. Some people, it's just like, hey, forget this creamy crack. Forget this whole trying to appease other people. Let me just do me, you know? So, yep. And for me, it's just, Locs are just so empowering. I'm less insecure, you know, because when your hair is just, I know what my hair is going to do every single day.
Yep.
You know, so I don't have to worry about.
You no longer have to apologize for who you are. And I think that's what boys, I think I spent a majority of my life apologizing for who I am. And that's an inner conflict where you sit and say, so how can you, it's like every day you go into war with yourself. Every day I'm going to war with myself. And then before I even get out the door, by the time I get out the door, it's like I woke up, it's in the morning with a fight with myself. Hair, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to look like this. I'm going, you know, I need to look cute like this every day. And once you stop fighting yourself, you can stop fighting the world. You're like, hey, you come ready because you have the energy to give to yourself. You have the energy to, hey, you having a bad day, but I'm not going to allow your energy to affect mine. I'm going to still give you love. I'm going to give you the space you need to breathe because you know what? I'm breathing just fine over here. I got a lot of air. And that comes with time, I think, acceptance, knowledge, but I think most importantly, once you make the commitment to get over whatever's holding you back. Because that's the difference between doing it and not doing it. And then the thing that did kind of help when I read, I don't even know if it's true, they said, well, I told myself this. It's like, well, I can undo it if it don't work out. And I'm not somebody that's attached to hair because I have my hair short, like not and no all the time. I'm known to cut it off. Oh, I just gotta cut my hair off. I had an emotional trauma. Oh, I'm cutting my hair off. And this time it's like, why? All I keep saying is, why didn't I do this already?
That's what everybody be
But I thought people were just joking. Like, oh, they're just saying that. They just trying to, like kids. Like, oh, shit.